All right, welcome back everybody to Cool's Reviews. We are quickly approaching the final episode of Project Blue Book Season 1, as we are on Project Blue Book Season 1, Episode 9, Abduction. And to be kind of transparent, I did almost completely forget about this episode until I started rewatching it. And then I remembered it, but then, yeah, when it came on, I was like, man, I totally spaced this one. But yeah, we're almost done with this one. It's kind of sad. Once we come to the end, though, we're going to do a little tier list for you guys. Maybe we'll do it live, so stay tuned for that. And you guys can comment, tell us what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. But that should be fun. We'll probably take a break between season 1 and season 2, as far as maybe we'll watch something else. I just know you guys have been commenting, but we wanted to make sure at least get through one of these seasons since we did start this journey quite a bit ago. And the fact we finished all of Chad Kalich's films before this kind of hurt me on the inside a little bit.
Yeah, but that was kind of brought upon us, and then we just kind of watched them all.
We had to. It was it's when you're a glutton for punishment, you gotta finish stuff, you know.
Well, we were told about like the second movie first, and then we saw that there was a first one, and then there was a third one.
But yeah, as usual, my name's Keegan. Joining me today is
I'm Sam.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Yeah, and so this one is an interesting one. It's pretty close as far as the set. They're not journeying anywhere because they are on base. I mean, there is the story with Susie, I almost read her name, and Mrs. Hynek kind of intertwined, but for the majority of this, it is just in their little Project Blue Book office on base. And so I think they do a really good job. Honestly, every time I would cut away, I was like, can we just go back? Because the tension was like building, and then they're like, okay, I won't say that because we'll get to that part later. But that part when they're like, do it, cut it, and I'm like, all right. Sam, initial thoughts on the episode before we dive into it.
I mean, unlike Keegan, I definitely didn't forget about this episode. I knew it was coming up, whether it was the next one. Oh, I knew it was the next one, actually. This is the one where you kind of get the all three of the spectrums. You get the close encounter of like the first, second, and third type, to where you have a physical thing, there's something that happens, and then there's actually an abduction part, and also gets like an implant in them, which there are stories and people have like weird foreign objects that have been placed in them from after abductions as well. So this one kind of like lets you know that sometimes that stuff does happen. And like the whole part where like he sees like a star system that like most people don't know about, and just like was able to precisely like put those pinpoints on a piece of paper. Like some people have learned a lot of crazy things from their experiences on crafts, or from beings that have encountered with them. So I definitely really enjoyed the episode, and like Keegan was mentioning, there was like it got very heated between kind of both parties, because like Susie and Mrs. Hynek, and then also Quinn and Alan.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you going into this before I put in the Blu-ray. For some reason, I really thought it was the Hopkinsville Goblin one, and I was like, oh wait, no, it's season 2. Bummed we don't have a third season because they really don't touch upon what they end up with at the end of season 1. They kind of hint at it going into the end of season 2, but
this is very true.
Yeah, so it opens up and Hynek's really questioning like what does he want to do. He actually writes up a resignation paper at the beginning. He never signs it though. So I don't know if I don't think he was bluffing, but I definitely think he kind of had enough for sure.
I don't know if it was him having enough. I think he was like, he was definitely pretty invested into it, but it was like affecting his family and his marital life because they had someone break into their house. Yeah, Fuller broke into his house earlier in the episode, and then his neighbors.
One went missing, yeah.
One went missing. I don't think the next thing has happened yet. No, it
That's
hasn't.
next episode,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that is next episode. Yeah, so a lot of weird things have started to be happening, and then also with like the man in the hat, or essentially the men in black. But as I like to call them, yeah, a lot of stuff has been happening. So like he's also kind of done with it as well, but also is like still pretty invested. You can tell he's pretty invested into it still. He's just been kind of like giving an ultimatum where it's just like it's either us or your job, your like new job now. So he was kind of like forced, like essentially forced into it.
Yeah, and so him and Quinn kind of get in a fight about that. But before anything can happen, a couple comes in. The gentleman is complaining, kind of the head stuff that we've been seeing going on, especially the last episode. And so you're not quite sure where it's going to go, but it does get intense because he pulls a gun. And then, like, the
Mm-hmm.
doors are locked, and it quickly becomes a hostage situation. How many people thought they'd be seeing that in this series? I mean, I'm sure some of you did, but maybe not like this. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the basic setup. Matt, before we get too deep, how do you kind of feel basic about this episode?
I liked it. I mean, I thought it was pretty interesting through the whole episode. Kept me intrigued.
So he talks. The gentleman talks about one night he was driving home when he saw this like shooting star. He described it, and then all of a sudden there was more, and then there's like a mothership. The mothership looked really good actually, considering it's a TV show. I was like, oh, it looks pretty good. And then a big blinding light, and he passes out. And during this, he kind of like goes into a trance, I guess, where he just kind of like loses train of thought.
But we do have to mention that like he says the light was really bright, but it didn't hurt his eyes. Like if you were looking at like the sun, or when you like have like a high lumen flashlight like we use in some of our investigations, like the thing with like certain crafts, like including the story that like I tell as one that I've seen up in Keystone up in Colorado, is these things they're bright lights, but they didn't act like normal lights. So it is very interesting to like hear those type of perspectives from other people that have kind of seen things, and it being told like in this show is like pretty crazy, honestly.
Yeah, and so as it progresses, so they end up doing like hypnosis. Hynek does on the gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
and so he describes the situation again, but this time he can remember, I guess, being on the craft, being wherever I guess he was. It doesn't really specify if he was on the craft or they took him somewhere else, but he's definitely taken somewhere. And
Mm-hmm.
he starts screaming, "It's burning! It's burning!" And that brings his wife in, and that's when the secretary runs out. And so now you know it's gonna get like a standoff. Things gonna get
Mm-hmm.
serious, and they
The
do.
MPs are gonna surround the building
Yeah,
because they're on a military base, so it's gonna get heavily surrounded. Like they
yeah,
probably have snipers on the building and like all sorts of like probably armored vehicles there too because they don't know.
yeah.
It was
Well,
probably like there was probably some crazy stuff around that building that they don't show.
yeah, and at this point, so the couple puts Hynek and Quinn in the in a room. I don't know which room
In
it
the room
was.
that they did it was
Yeah,
in the same room that he did the hypnosis.
yeah, but I don't know what whose room it was. It's not their room because the couple kind of stays in the Project Blue Book room. They get in an argument because Quinn wants the tape of the hypnosis, but Hynek doesn't want to give it to him because he says, well, he's just a citizen, so it's his, blah, blah. So they do get in a fight. It ends well, even though bloody. There's some blood dripping on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just like, can we not do this?
Are we done?
Yeah.
Are we done?
Quinn notices that it's quiet. Well, it's quiet because as they're fighting, the audience is watching the wife cut this, like, he has like a lump on his neck, which made me remember mine. I was like, was it an alien? It wasn't. It wasn't an alien. But they cut it out, and it's like a round little silver. It almost looks like a watch battery. Is probably the best way to describe it, but a little bit bigger,
A watch battery, but like slightly more curved because it's more
curved
of
and
like
bumpy. It was kind
yeah.
of bumpy in texture. So as they're kind of looking over, seeing what's going on, there's some like blue pulses kind of coming off of it. The phones start ringing, and well, I guess first the lights go out. And so as an audience, this was kind of a clever thing because at this point you kind of forgot about the standoff just for a second, just for the briefest of seconds, because when the light goes off, you're like, oh, it's the little disc thing, and
Well, the
then
lights
pretty
started acting
quickly,
weird before it came out. Like at least the
yeah,
headlamp. It wasn't the upper light because the upper light stayed like normal, but the headlamp started to like act like electronically. Like something probably would have happened with that lamp if the power wasn't shut at that time. Like there's something that could have proven what the object was more if they weren't in the scenario that they were in. And when he looked through the magnifying glass, it like shocked, like sent out an electrical surge towards him a little bit.
the lights get cut, the phone starts ringing, and you remember they have probably surrounded the building, and the characters within the show are like start freaking out because they know it's about to go down. And the one guy, he's like, "Well, just tell him this will fix it. No one else should get in trouble." Blah blah. And he makes the mistake of going by the window, and bam. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Did they kill him?" No. Spoiler: they don't kill him. He
Well,
is
because
taken
Quinn moved him out of the way from it being like a full-on
a
headshot
headshot.
or like a
Yeah,
kill shot, essentially.
yeah. And so he does survive. And yeah, that's Quinn tells Heineck he doesn't want him to resign because he thinks he's better with Heineck part of the team. He kind of helps balance him out. Now we didn't mention the whole Susie stuff. Uh, it's short and I don't know. I mean, I guess it's they need to tell it for the story they're telling, but I don't know. I kept saying just go back. I want to see what's going on at the base. But yeah, she's kind of ordered by the her handler, I guess, to go get like blackmail on Mrs. Hynek, and she ends up like drugging her,
And
but she
seducing
doesn't.
him.
Well, it makes you think she is, but she doesn't. She ends up not doing anything, not getting the pictures for whatever reason. She's had like a sort of change of heart. Not along. I mean, she does end up murdering her handler at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, yeah, blah blah. And so she kind of makes it look like he forced himself on her, and then she just like boom boom boom, and he's dead. She just lights up a cigarette, walks right on out.
Mm-hmm.
And Mrs. Hynek, oh wait, no, that's the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say about the wiretap, but that's next episode.
Mm-hmm. That is next episode. Yeah,
Yes,
like towards
I'll
the
stop
end
there.
of this one. Yeah, towards the end of this one, the man in the hat shows up at his house, and Heineck
Oh
kind
yeah,
of pins him to it, and he's just like, "What are you doing here?" You're like, "How do you know where I live?" But he should have known that earlier because he saw him there earlier. Oh no, that was Fuller again. Never mind. No, I think he did see them outside of his house one time
was that him
before
or
he
was that
like.
Mrs. Hynek?
Mrs. Heineck saw Fuller
Okay,
outside the house, but
and
I'm pretty sure
inside,
he
he just
saw.
like walked out of the
Well,
bathroom. You're
yeah,
like,
and
what the hell?
inside. But I'm pretty sure Dr. Heineck's. I'll have to go back out, like look back through and fact check myself. But I'm pretty sure that he did see them at least maybe drive by at one point, or it was Fuller again looking at him, and then he like followed Fuller or something. I could be mistaking that for Fuller, but I'm pretty sure they have watched him from his house before, whether he saw them or not, or them just like being there and knowing where he's at.
Yeah, and don't worry, guys. Before we go and do our tier list, we are going to rewatch all the episodes. We'll probably do that on our own accord, and then we'll just pick a Friday night, do it live, so you guys can interact with us and tell us what you guys think as well, if you guys want. Hashtag say Project Blue Book, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will say this could be my least favorite of the season one. Why did you laugh at that?
Because I'm pretty sure you said that about the last one. Was it the last one or was it the one before that?
No, I think I like
One for
Camp Master.
and he said about it all of them in season one.
I mean, this is a valid point, Matt.
No, I give ratings so I can kind of know how to I want to rank them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it's very good in parts. Very tense, especially when they're like cutting the knife or cutting uh the whatever it is, because we never really get a definitive answer on that. Um, but when they cut that out, it's very horror-esque. There's the tension between Hynek and Quinn. There's the tension of where's the military going to break in. But I just like the whole Susie Mrs. Hynek thing just felt kind of out of place for this episode. I think it would have been more condensed if it just told their story.
I mean, maybe, but you also have to understand that that whole thing was going on at the same time, and then it kind of that creates an intense thing for later
It
because like
does.
that stuff was going on, and then yeah, I don't know.
But again, it's a TV show, so they can always tell it in a certain way. Like you, the next episode, if you want, because it really their part was maybe a couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good like probably 10, 15 throughout the entire episode.
I would probably say like 8 minutes, 6 to 8.
Maybe I was probably just giving them a little bit more.
Yeah, no, and so it felt kind of added on maybe to give it more of the episode length, where I think they could have just added that in somehow with Quinn and Hynek and the couple in the base, you know. Just keep
Hmm.
building that tension because I think they did a really good job there. It's still really good. I still enjoyed it as an episode, just when you compare it to the rest of Project Blue Book, which is how I've been comparing a lot of TV shows, so I kind of feel bad. I compare them to Project Blue Book, and I'm like,
They're not
because
the same.
side story, I know I see lots of recommendations for you guys, so we'll have us watch the Billy the Kid Epic series. It's terrible. Okay, I tried. We will at some point. But everyone's like, it doesn't have to be historically accurate, blah, blah, blah. Well,
To Keegan, it
Project
does.
Project Blue Book isn't 100% either. It's going to add a little bit of flair for TV, but it still keeps with what they have. It doesn't completely change details.
Uh, And there's also probably some stuff that they can't really put in there, or they're not allowed to put in there.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying with the Billy the Kid series, they take a historical figure and they would have been better doing the Dracula method of just like throw him into a fantasy world with Dracula because pretty much that's what they did. They took the historical characters and uh they kill off like um Joe, his brother Joe Antrim as a teenager when he lived to be an old man in Denver, Colorado. They don't give his mom's name right, and there it doesn't make sense. Here I get it when they've changed names. We see that with the Secretary of State has a different name, obviously because it's military and you can't do defamation and stuff like that, all that kind
Hmm.
of stuff.
Yep.
But there's just ways to write television, and I think Project Blue Book is very good at doing that. Keeps you intrigued. It tells the cases. It tells you the cases that are fake and why they're fake. And then it leaves it open ended on the cases that they didn't really have an explanation for, which is we'll see next episode. I don't want to say too much, but it's a
Hmm.
good one. You know, they do kind of it's okay to not be historically 100% accurate if you're going to tell a story. Just be faithful to the subject matter. And I like this. I like Project Blue Book. I think it's a good series. I don't know what we'll do between season 1 and 2 as far as a shorter series that we can watch and just kind of get back into, because we want to have a little bit of a break, much like we really did between season 1 and 2, just to have that kind of clear mind and be able to not judge it against the first season right away. Oh, we should do that
I
though.
mean,
Come
I'll
back and
have a
do an
clear mind.
ultimate.
Keegan's the one that'll be judging
What?
it. Keegan's always the one that judges things way too hard. I mean, watch the Chad Kalik reviews, and you can tell. But
Chad
we did
Kalik
do all
ones.
those back to back.
There was one night we did like 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah, it was
And then it didn't
definitely
even
pretty rough.
properly record one of them. We had to rewatch that. And I was like, I don't want to
We
watch.
did.
We already planned on
And it had to
rewatching it.
be that one. And it had to be that one out of all the other ones. The other ones probably would have been fine.
I don't know. The American Ghost Hunter one's bad, but I think the
Oh, yeah.
American Ghost Hunter one is funny to a point because it has weird aspects. It's like, why did like the interviewing the 2x4 is hilarious, and I could watch that. That's a comedy bit. Phantom Rider just is so super super serious on itself,
Mm-hmm.
and it just man, just brings up the whole ending where he's like crying and he's like, I can't do this anymore, and he's like, it's just like to be continued, and I was like, man, that's all bullshit. Project Blue Book, though, on the other hand, good series. We do recommend it. I've never given any of the episodes a bad rating.
No, but you do say it's like the least of your favorites, but that's just because we've watched both seasons, so
Well, I was just saying the least of season 1.
fair.
I don't know about season 2. I do feel like there was one in season 2 that I wasn't a huge fan of, but it's been a while. I did the actor who plays Truman in this one. I don't think is as good as the actor who plays another president coming up. He doesn't do a bad job when he's limited, but when he's given kind of a bigger talking part, it was just like. Uh... So obviously they end up, because right now we're at Truman because Truman's president, and Eisenhower is the next president, but I don't think he's ever like shown in the season 2, right? Eisenhower never makes an actual appearance. He's like name dropped, like I know in the Roswell one, which we can talk about because we've talked about it on the channel.
He might have been. I don't
I
remember
can't.
though.
I don't think he was, but it's possible. I know season 9 and oh wait, I don't even think Truman's in this episode. I think that's the next one. It is the next one. I have to cut that whole portion out. Cut it out. Editor, cut it out, please. Okay,
Okay.
Sam, you better take over before I just start babbling because I
Yeah,
totally was talking. I
because
was like,
you watched that second one. That's why you're all messed up. Because you like started to watch that next episode, so then you
it's a
just
good
got you
episode.
kind of almost combined both of them into one.
It's a good episode though.
Oh, I know it is.
Uh,
But going back to like the hypnosis and him remembering the abduction thing, like there are many cases where people have went and got hypnosis or had hypnosis done on them, and then they were able to recall their accounts of from when like before they were entering the craft, just like I forget his name.
I don't know. The whole time too, I was like, is this supposed to be Betty and Barney Hill?
No.
I didn't think so, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know any other big abduction cases
Well, this one would have been through the military, so it would not have been like known publicly
made
because
public.
it was on base, and the only record that they have of it is Blue Book's kind of talking point of it. Because like I doubt he told anybody about it because like he was ex-military and would be probably pretty secretive of it.
Yeah,
But
see, that's something we'll have to do is get a hold of some of the Hynek books and read them and do episodes on those because I'm sure there's some good talking points on them. Why'd you like whip
Nothing.
out a gun finger at me?
Well,
You were
because I
just
noticed
like,
that like when I tapped my hat, like since I have the blurry background, it makes my hands blurry at some point. So I was just like, if I move it, would it just be like a blurry finger? Sorry, I
no,
was
all I
getting
saw was just
distracted.
like this, and I was like, is he threatening? I was like, let's
No,
talk
I'm
about
not.
Heineck.
Let's talk about Heine Keegan.
Do it.
We will need to do that because that would be pretty interesting to see how much he is like able to talk about and what he can mention without getting in too much trouble from the government.
Yeah, and then I think it'd be fun to find the actual, well, not the actual, but the accounts of maybe some of these cases. Obviously, we aren't going to be able to get a hold on the actual ones because who knows where those are. But I know there's been some reprints of his books and stuff, so I'm sure we can get a hold of that.
Honestly, I might have one of those. I don't really know though. I'd have to
I
look.
I don't, but I almost did. I almost bought one at a store. There was an antique bookstore I went to. I've been really tempted to go back and try to see if it's still there.
Maybe.
I'm sure I could find it on eBay, but it's the finding it. Maybe we could watch Ancient Aliens. No, that's not in our next series. I have the first 10 seasons though, if you want to watch.
I'm pretty sure I've watched like all of them, guaranteed. That with my cousin.
I'll
But
tell
we're
you,
like,
I've watched one episode and that I couldn't even make it through that one episode. We'll do it for
I'm
you guys. If you
probably
guys
probably
comment,
did
let
it
us know.
recently, but like when we were watching it, it was just like over like summer break, like in between school seasons, and we were smoking lots of weed, watching Ancient Aliens, just being like, "Damn man, this is crazy."
It's crazy, man.
Nah, I mean,
Aliens.
there was also nights that we were seeing weird like plane patterns in the sky. I don't really know what was going on that night. That night was a very interesting night because we were just like out in a hot tub late at night, just smoking and going between the hot tub and the pool, and there was just like these weird like flying patterns of some like these planes in like a cluster of three. Like they were like in the shape of a diamond, or not a diamond, but a triangle. They were flying in the shape of a triangle, but they were like circling and doing these like weird circles.
I wonder if it's what me and my brother saw.
Yeah, I don't know. They was just being really weird, and we were just like, dude, what is going on?
Right.
And then at one point, both of him like so, if I was facing west, so I was sitting facing west, he was sitting facing east, because we were on like opposite ends, and we were like looking up, and then both of us out of my right eye and his left eye, we just saw this like orange light come like down real quickly, and then just like vanish, and we were like, what was that? But like we both saw it at the same time, so we don't really know
Hmm.
if we potentially saw something then, and that's what they were like looking for, or I don't really even know. But it was definitely really interesting that night. I mean, I won't put it past, since we were like smoking marijuana, that like it potentially could have just been something that we just saw under the influence of something, but it was just still really weird that both of us saw it like same time, like just like exact same time. I mean, we both like looked over and was just like, what was that?
Well, we have gone off the rails, guys.
Yes, we have.
We even started talking about the next episode. I'm super
I
tired.
mean,
I
Keegan has. I
apologize.
haven't. I just said that there's crazy stuff to come, and Keegan's just going on and talking about it, and he's gonna
About
cut all of that.
Truman. It's okay, I didn't mention anything. I just said President Truman.
President Truman, and then also The Wire.
Yeah, but I'm cutting the wire out. 'Cause
Oh, okay.
I was just like, but yeah. So we'll give you guys our recommendations, reviews. Matt, what do you rate it, recommend it, etc.
I'm pulling a Sam. 10 out of 10 on this one. Get suspense the whole time. It was good. Like I said, I liked it. I really haven't had a blue Project Blue Book that I didn't like too much. Definitely would recommend it. I mean, it's a series well worth checking out.
Sam?
I mean, I'm going my usual 10 out of 10. They're all really good. This one talks about more like the abduction scenario and finding like weird things that will like mess with your body, which Quinn puts it off as like a projectile that gets like put in there, but like some things are kind of a little weird. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to this one. I really like it though.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there's some good aspects to it. Personally, for me, I'd probably rate it closer to a 7 out of 10. Just because it feels a bit disjointed in areas, at least compared to the other ones where Project Blue Book is usually pretty good at condensing. It just felt like maybe they needed one more episode for this season and they didn't quite get it, so they kind of had to play with one of the episodes, and this was the one they played with. Because I feel like they could have done this, maybe expanded on the other stuff in another. I don't know. That's just me. I still recommend it. I think Project Blue Book, like I said, good series. Definitely makes me a harsher judger on different series that we watch. Um, Brought up the Billy the Kid one. That's also probably personal bias in my research, and it's just not a very good TV series. I did see someone review review it somewhere saying Twilight in the West. Might not be too far off. Might not be too far off.
That should
Yeah,
be your favorite then. I'm just kidding.
it's because the one lady was like, "You look like the guy from Twilight," and I was like, "All right, I'm growing a beard.
Growing a beard. I'm over this now.
No more Twilight comparisons." But yeah, that is Project Blue Book Season 1, Episode 9, Abduction. It's pretty good still, and we'll be back pretty soon to talk about Episode 10, which is a pretty crazy episode. A lot condensed into that one. It is very fast paced, lots of action, lots of storylines connecting, and a lot of teasing for Season 2. Then after that, we will be back for our tier list live with you guys. So if you guys want to join us, if you guys don't want to join us, you'll still be on YouTube at some point, so you can watch it either way and just see how we see all the episodes of season 1. Who knows? Maybe 2 years down the line, when we're done with season 2, we'll come back and do a bulk list with all the episodes on a tier list. Which wouldn't be too hard, honestly, because if we had one tier list and another tier list, we just look at them and be like, okay, we rated this an S, this one was an A, blah, blah, blah. Where would you rank them on this? So, and who knows, maybe when we watch season 2, some of the ones here might drop from an S to an A. Still be good, though. Still be good. But yeah, if you guys want to see more Cools reviews, click that link to your left. If you want to see more about what we're doing here at Cools Paranormal, click that link to your right. And don't forget to like and give us a subscribe.
And switch that notification bell from personalized to all if you want to be notified on all of our upcoming videos.
But if you guys comment below, let us know. Would you like to watch an episode of Weekly Abductions hosted by Sam and Andrew WK?